Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 4things podcast. I'm Simon, and this is
James.
And James and I are going to talk about, we're going to start with 4 things that happened this week. It is the beginning of June, and there was lots of stuff happened these past week. So again, thank you for joining us against the 4 Things podcast, and we're going to throw in some various bits and pieces today. But I think the first thing we're going to do is talk about what's interesting. What happened this week that you're excited about?
Excited about?
Or what caught your eye? What caught your fancy this week?
I have booked a trip.
What? Do tell.
To Paris, France for 21 days.
Paris, France? Where the ladies wear no pants? That's where you're going?
Yes.
Amazing.
In November, and we're going to sort of vaguely search for a place to live.
Wow, that is kind of exciting.
Somewhere south of Paris, on the TGV line.
That sounds pretty amazing. Like to live forever? Or as a pied-à-terre in southern France?
As a pied-à-terre for now.
Amazing.
But eventually fleeing this North America scene.
Fair enough.
You have been to Europe many times, I know.
Yeah.
And I prefer that sort of culture.
Fair enough. I know somebody who's going to Normandy tomorrow.
Tomorrow, you say?
For 2 weeks. And I thought, well, that seems pretty nice.
Going to Normandy for the 6th of June.
Is that a significant date in Normandy?
It's D-Day.
There you go. That's probably why they're going. Like I hadn't actually clocked it, but my brother-in-law and his wife are going.
Okay.
And, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. I thought it would just seem like a nice holiday. It's like, Normandy? Yeah, why not?
That would be the 81st anniversary of the landings in Normandy.
And you just didn't even, you just did it off the top of your head there. That was amazing.
It's the 6th of June, man.
No, that it was 81 years.
Well, 1944 was when they landed.
Math. Yeah, nice.
Yeah. And then it took them a year to...
get off the beach. It was so nice.
Get off the beach.
It was like, get up. No, just... another day.
You gotta keep going.
No, it's beautiful here. This is a beach. They've got cocktails, the whole thing. No, that's not how it went.
Not
okay.
How it went. Not according to the newsreels I've seen. No.
Okay, I've been misinformed. I'm just going to say.
Normandy's a lovely place.
Yeah. Have you been?
I have. I've done a tour of those beaches.
Amazing. Like Omaha and Juneau and
we saw Dunkirk, and then went south to Vimy and Reims, and many years ago. It's a fascinating part of history.
That's funny that you said Dunkirk went south.
Dunkirk,
because it did. It totally did.
It did.
Hey, here's a little thing. To step away from World War II for a second, do you know where the expression "to go south" comes from?
I do not.
It's fascinating.
Please.
So when they were testing missiles in the Nevada test range, and in particular in preparation for nuclear missiles, the Army was testing missiles in the Nevada test range.
So this is recent?
This is in the 50s, let's say. And so the story goes that the test range was north of the launch site, and Las Vegas was south of the launch site. And if you launched a missile into the air, into the test range, and it went south, that was problematic.
Some unhappy gamblers.
Absolutely. So the idea of something going south comes from that. Or so I'm told. I mean, it could be a total lie. Could be an internet lie. I don't remember. Was it a credible source? I don't know. But that's amazing. That's awesome as far as going to Paris or outside of Paris. And
for November. We're going for November, and probably Brussels, Amsterdam.
Nice.
Maybe Bruges.
Indeed. Good food. There'll be good food.
Yes.
Amazing. Hey, there was a news story this week. So the oldest Parmesan on record was found.
In Parma?
Yeah, I'm guessing.
See.
But anyway, it was found, and I'm always a bit short on facts because it's not that. But so it was people, and they'd long since gone out of the business of making Parmesan. But they had this wheel on the shelf. They knew about it, but like they didn't anyway. I don't know.
Holding the garage door open?
Something like that. It's a big thing, right? Like it's like 40 kilos or something. And 27 years had been sitting on the shelf, which is on record for the oldest Parmesan wheel or something like that.
I imagine it's worth it.
And they tasted. Well, this was the interesting part of the story. So they tasted it, and they were like, this is like the best Parmesan we've ever tasted. And then the story goes on to talk about they had it with like melon and bread, and it was delicious. And then they also, on the side, they had, they tasted it with balsamic vinegar, like a little balsamic vinegar and bread and some melon and all of that. And then it said, so what's it worth? And they said, well, we're going to sell the rest of it. And I thought, there's this little sliver left.
What's left?
They're like, oh. The whole wheel would have been worth like $20,000 or $30,000, but apparently, I don't know how much is left.
It's a little pie-shaped piece left?
A little pie-shaped piece. But they said they would sell it off, the part that was left. Like maybe cut away the teeth marks in it or whatever it was, and then you could buy it. Teeth marks or not, you could kind of ask and see.
Well, that lends itself. That's the legitimacy. Yes.
Yeah.
People have been eating it.
Yummy. See those teeth? Yeah. Those people loved that bite.
That's Parma, Italy.
Parma, Italy, indeed.
Which is also famous for their hams. And they undergo the same aging process, from what I understand. And they have some basement, some old country house full of hams.
Not prosciutto.
Prosciutto.
Sì. The crudo or the prosciutto non-crudo. Crudo. So it's prosciutto crudo and prosciutto cotto.
Cotto? Che cosa cotto?
Cotto. I don't know.
You don't know that.
Prosciutto. I have no idea what anything means. But one of the prosciuttos that I like, which is the one that everybody knows about, you wrap it around melon.
See?
That is, I believe, we'll get comments. Please correct us if you know. Is the crudo, I believe. That's prosciutto crudo.
As opposed, what was the other one?
Cotto, I believe.
Cotto and crudo.
Yeah, I believe it. But I didn't know there was two kinds.
Well, we'll have to look that up.
Maybe it's just like sloppy ham laying around is the cotto. Italian for sloppy ham.
Sloppy ham, sloppy Parma.
Yep. But I watched a great documentary about the making of prosciutto in Parma. And they pulled out, like, from the good shelf. They pulled out some prosciutto and then they sliced it.
Uncle Luigi.
Yeah, and then they were all sitting around in the sunshine on the outdoor deck with melon wrapped with the good stuff. And they're just eating it and drinking wine. And I was like...
That's la dolce vita.
It was pretty much the dolce vita right there. Like it was, I thought to myself, God, am I hungry right now? And then we didn't have either. We didn't have wine, melon, or prosciutto crudo.
Che cosa sai?
I know. And so I think I probably had a white bread and Loblaws ham sandwich. Some spam. And it was like, and I was living the good life as well.
Cooler.
I was living the good life.
That was this morning.
That was. What else? What else is going? What else is new on your week of the week?
I heard that our friend in the United States, the Minister of Defense, or not minister, what do they call him? Secretary?
Yes, Mr. Hegseth.
Mr. Yes. Pete Hegseth has decided to rename a ship.
Oh, yes, I know where you're going with this. Yeah.
The USS Harvey Milk, which was a supply ship, but it isn't that old. It's within the last 15 years, this thing was built and launched. And they want to rename it because it does not conform to the present administration's thought of warrior culture.
So the ship was just too gay.
Too gay.
That ship is just way too gay for our army.
Way too gay.
Yeah.
And, well, the irony, maybe not irony, but Harvey Milk served and was a decorated officer in the United States Navy.
And, I know that from a long time ago. Yeah. And an extraordinary American, an extraordinary elected official, human rights, civil rights.
And he was killed. He was
assassinated.
He was murdered,
Yeah, assassinated with the mayor of San Francisco. Was it? I think the both of them lost their lives. And lost their lives in public service. Which is an extraordinary thing, but apparently a little too gay.
A little too gay. You can't fight on that ship.
Yeah.
And there are apparently other ships that they want to rename as well that do not embody the warrior culture of the United States military.
The mind boggles. It really does.
Which is they've allocated, I think, close to $1 trillion this year for
renaming ships.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
Some very expensive.
We had to de-gay that boat. That boat was all over gay.
You got up a dry dock.
Yep.
And it's getting the moisture out of it is the thing.
Yes. Yeah. No. The mind boggles, and I think. And without getting too deep about all of it, right? Like, I think the obvious question is who are citizens, right? Like, and service to the nation, and who, admittedly, we're Canadians. We have to kind of put that out there, in that we have a very strong sense of citizenship, and we have a very strong sense of culture, and our armed forces are prized here. But it's not the same. We don't have the same sort of.
We lack the aggression.
Yeah, we lack the aggression, I think, and I think our patriotism is a little more subdued, and it's not. We don't measure our patriotism by the size of our armed forces or by how gay they are or not. Like, yeah,
we got some.
Yeah.
I think they called them the gayest armed forces.
Yeah, we do. They are so happy; it's unbelievable. They are the gayest armed forces. Sorry, that way I couldn't resist. But yeah, like it marvels. You're either marvel or boggle in that people would look at citizens who had created so much goodwill, citizens that have created great equity in the American culture and the American ethos.
Not important.
Not important at all, and
detrimental. In fact,
detrimental that these people who these patriots and civil servants and whoever, doctors, lawyers, soldiers, sailors,
and there are other ships that they are planning to rename as well because they do not.
Because they're too gay too.
Too gay or too black or too.
There is that too. Yeah.
Too lovey-dovey, too compassionate.
Yeah.
Can't be that in the Army or the Navy.
No, because you might be motivated by compassion and empathy as opposed to something else.
You wouldn't follow orders, and that is...
There you go.
At the end of the day, that is what they're worried about.
Too gay to follow orders. Oh, jeez.
I said dance.
You dance, mister. Sorry. I apologize. I apologize for that one. No letters, comments for sure.
The lines are lighting up already.
What else is going on? Hey, because we're speaking about our friends to the south, Golden Dome. I think we talked a little bit last week about Golden Dome.
The Golden Dome, the missile defense system.
Missile defense system that's it's gonna be amazing.
Which is just renamed Star Wars.
It totally is. It's huge. It's gonna be huge.
That was Reagan's thing.
It totally was, and this was actually what I was going to point out is that didn't we talk about this? I think we did. Like, we were around when Star Wars came up, and everybody said, "Hold on a second, if you can knock nuclear missiles out of the sky, doesn't that affect the nuclear deterrent?" Like, isn't that a thing? Like, we kind of count on that not so much we have nuclear missiles because we're going to use them. We have them to stop anybody else from using them. And the original Star Wars plan basically said, if you can knock out their missiles, well, it doesn't work anymore. The deterrent thing doesn't work at all because then they know that you could knock out their missiles.
We do have a system in place already, and that has been operational for 50 years.
We do?
Sure we do. It's the distant early warning system.
Oh, but that was the thing was that
not a defensive system. It is an alert system.
I think there was talk. So around the time of Star Wars, I think there was. I wish I could remember what they actually called Star Wars, but the Strategic Defense Initiative, or that sounds right.
Yeah, I think so.
And but there was also in this treaty on interceptors, which were the same issue. So if you had advanced interceptors that could knock out the ballistic missile threat, that basically drew a red line through deterrence. That the idea, and I think at the time, if I cast my mind back, if you thought that some of your missiles would be destroyed en route, the logical process would be fire all of your missiles at once, and some will get through. Mm-hmm. And the idea of measured deterrence, and even that the idea that there might even be such a thing as a phased nuclear strike, so that you could, there would be a couple of bombs, and then somebody would throw a couple of bombs.
Well, you can bet that's one of their scenarios.
Yeah, but if you have interceptors, or you have
interceptors, meaning
missiles that would take down ballistic missiles with any sort of predictability. Mm-hmm. It kind of blows that out of the water. Like I said, you got one button then. That's like, if you think you're going to shoot them, you have to shoot them all. Because if you shoot one or two, they're going to knock down, and then the other guy is gonna shoot two at you, and maybe you don't have those interceptors and all that stuff. So
maybe that one that got destroyed would be enough to let cooler heads prevail.
Yeah, maybe.
Everybody take a breath.
Maybe.
Or, no, that's.
But my favorite part about all this, and this is just how my mind works, is so the problem is, if you had missiles in space, like, okay, you put, because it's all space-based, this whole Golden Dome thing, right? It's all supposed to be space-based, so you put these platforms that have missiles up in space, and they can attack. But there's this discussion about the vulnerabilities of space-based platforms to missiles, to orbiting missiles, orbiting projectiles, right? Yeah. And they're like, no, it's cool because we know everything. Like, once we get them up there, we'll know everything, and we'll see them launching missile platforms into space. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I'm pretty sure they're already there.
Yeah.
It's like when the Star Wars thing was happening, I'm pretty sure somebody launched a few up there, just back pocket.
They say they're not.
Yeah, of course.
Because that was a UN directive from the early 70s, was that will never, ever happen.
Well, I think somebody might have a few missiles just kind of hanging around, pretending they're communication satellites.
There's a couple of space shuttles missing. They may still be up there.
Yeah. And I think the idea that that you get all your stuff set up, like you spend your $800 billion or whatever it is, and you're all there ready. We're poised. And then a little missile kind of sneaks its way over, sniffing the whole way, like the bullet in the cartoon, just sniffing its way along. And then that's it. Done. And then they'd all be on the same orbit. So all of the pieces of that one would go flying around, and it would take out all the others.
Along with all of the communications and...
Absolutely.
Everything. It would be our friends in the space station.
They were like $800 billion down the drain.
Yeah, it wouldn't take very much, would it?
I don't think it would.
That would be that.
Yeah.
And they want to go through with this. Well, he does. There's no saying this is going to happen in his administration.
I agree.
Okay, here's a question.
Shoot.
What provisions are in place to get rid of this man. In Canada, we have the vote of confidence is a way to at least get rid of the leader.
Yep.
The party stays in power, if I'm correct, in Canada.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all.
Or it leaves room for an election.
It leaves room for an election,
right.
But your own party can remove you as the prime minister because you're only a minister in the government.
You're just another guy.
You're like the leader, so it's really like a party leader. But ultimately, if the government has no confidence, then the government creates an election.
Right. That happened in Holland 3 days ago.
Absolutely did.
So
that guy's hair is amazingly good. I love that guy's hair. What's his not Wim Wenders, that's a different guy. But it's like that's his name or something.
I think.
Vin Van Gogh.
No. Van Dyke, Van Gogh.
I don't know.
But their coalition collapsed. Vote of confidence. Now there's a snap election that has to be called. The United States doesn't have a similar system in place.
It does not, indeed.
So
these are different branches of government, for sure.
So the only way to get rid of him, and this is definitely going to happen, he's not going to last 4 years, is to declare him crazy, incompetent, or what? Or he gets shot.
I'm certainly not an American constitutional academic, but Congress has the ability to rule on
which is Republican right now.
Which is Republican, majority Republican. But Congress, there are things that are egregious, that are subscribed. No. Anyway, drawn out in the Constitution of things that you can't do, like self-enrichment, treasonous acts, criminal acts. Yeah, it's kind of what he does. That's how he rolls. But all of those things are reasons for impeachment. But you have to have a large enough majority to impeach. And once a president is impeached, then I believe the next in command, which is the vice president, would take office, and then there would be an election to find a new vice president or an appointment.
He was impeached twice in his first term.
There's impeachment, and then there's impeachment. Indeed, like it's impeaching, because there's another act. Once you realize once it's decided that you have an impeachable act, and everybody agrees that it's impeachable, then the action has to be voted on by everybody. So is it a reprimand? Is it like whatever happens? But these are impeachable acts, which are acts that could remove them from office, but they don't.
Penalty is floating.
Is decided on by Congress. In my understanding. Comments? Anybody's got comments? They're willing to no, everybody who has comments, because we don't really know anything. We're just talking through our proverbial top hats. But yeah, I believe that's the case. But it's tricky. It is tricky, and I think as has always been, I think throughout the history of the United States, the idea of a problematic president is problematic. Because it was enshrined in the Constitution in the very, very early days. I think it was Jefferson, who went to great lengths to ensure that you couldn't just remove the president, like that the president, and this was all turn of the 19th century, I guess.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Jefferson.
1776, so 18th.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, 19th century.
Yeah.
There was a lot of discussion about what powers the president should have, but also what would be the remedy of the people against a tyrant. And they were very sensitive about the whole tyrant thing.
Isn't part of that the Second Amendment?
I think there's a lot of that.
The whole point was with the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, was to make sure.
Again, I think there's lots of interpretations.
Hawaii had a defense against a corrupt government.
Yes and no. I think, well, no, of course it is. But I think the more the point about it of the day was that it was introducing federalism to a country that didn't believe in federalism and didn't believe in the desire or the ability of a federal government to govern them and to not persecute them. So the idea was that states and local forces could raise militias, right, and really to protect themselves against the federal government. That was the goal, right? So if the federal government decided to come and take your stuff, you could have a militia, and really it's all tied into the I believe, all tied into the state national guards. This idea that states
rights,
yes, and that states can in fact raise an army. You can have an army in a state. Isn't that great?
Well, they didn't get to where they are now by extricating themselves peacefully from their previous situation. They defeated colonialism. They fought
absolutely,
their colonial masters, and they haven't changed. That attitude is still there.
It absolutely is. And again, I must underline that we're Canadians.
Oh, yeah.
We don't really know anything. So I think we talked about it last week.
We decided to get along with the English and the French.
We did.
And keep them.
Because we liked tea and we liked baguettes. And so we were like,
right.
Hey, they're all right, I think. I think our view is always one of being a spectator in the whole game. Right?
There's something to be said for sitting in the bleachers these days.
Absolutely,
and it's watching the show.
Yeah.
Like we can leave and go and get some popcorn or go to bed.
We totally can
live it every day.
Exactly.
And it must be impossible for them to look at anything objectively. And traditionally, it has been. They haven't even been interested in doing that.
For sure.
But now, especially.
For sure. Like I don't even
they're
know.
They're not leaving the country.
No.
Americans, where are they going to go?
Exactly, and who wants them? So, did I say that out loud? Hold on. Yeah. Okay, more comments. Take a percent as the comments.
So as we know it, if Trump is declared unfit for office through a number of means, incompetence or treason or however, he's impeached.
Yep.
They decide how drastic the impeachment penalty will be. He gets kicked out, and J.D. Vance assumes the position. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes, and I think that's the sort of standard procedure. But really, once the impeachment happens and all that, I think there's a lot of it's not circumscribed, right? They basically Congress can choose to do whatever they want to choose, right? Like they could, if they decided that J.D. Vance was also impeachable because of his collusion or I don't know, whatever. I'm not saying, Mr. Vance, I'm not saying that you're colluding. But yeah, like, so I think it is a thing where if they, if that's what it comes down to, Congress has a lot of power in that scenario. They can do a lot of things.
How large is the majority
in Congress?
It's not razor thin, but it's not.
No, it's not. It's not very big at all. I think it's 3 or 4 seats.
Yeah. It's 51%, 52%.
Yeah. No, I think it is. Speaking of Canadians doing, having holier than thou and wildly inaccurate perceptions of American politics, have you read the Howard Zinn book? Howard Zinn, a historian, author, person, guy, famous-ish. No, famous. He wrote a book called The People's History of America. It's a great book. Recommend it. Fully recommend. It's a bit of a tome. It's a pretty lengthy book. And one of the big pluses for it is that Trump in his last term declared Howard Zinn, when he was still alive, to be public enemy number 1, which is awesome. That there's a historian because he's telling people what history is, and we don't like it. You're the devil for telling the truth.
Yeah, you
But it's a really fascinating story. It starts with really the first settlement of America, and goes through in the version I read. It goes through until I think it's like maybe early 2000s, and essentially it's I think in the forward he talks about that it's the history we have is the history of people who chose to write history, the history of America. So the history of the American Revolution is as was written about George Washington, as was written in the publications, and it really glorified the perspective of the aristocracy. Really, call it what it is. And so he wrote this history of what people were doing in the history of America. So interesting, so good, and really, especially the time of the American Revolution, just talking about what it was like to be a person as opposed to a player, like as opposed to one of the... Did you know that the Declaration of Independence was signed by the 55 richest people in America?
Stands to reason.
And it's like one of those things where, like, I read it on paper, and I had to read it on paper. I'm like, this feels like a revolutionary document, but this is just a bunch of rich people who didn't want to pay tax. That's what it is.
And they had to fire guns to get out of that deal.
Yeah, they had to put their slaves to work to kill people on their behalf.
Yes, that's a very cynical way to look at things again.
I know, it's my way. That's the way I have.
Totally true.
But he talks about it anyway. Good read. I'd like not to go into too much depth, but it is it's a really good read and a really good perspective on American history and who the people were. Little anecdote. So I was doing a show in New York. I was in New York in Lower Manhattan for a month doing a show, and I had the book. That was when I was reading the book. And so I would read it, like, I'd go home from work and I'd sit with my cocoa or whatever I had. Cocoa. We'll say cocoa and cookies. Mm-hmm. And I would sit and read a few chapters. And so I'd be reading, I'd be like, no, really? Is that a thing? Really? That's amazing.
Did you peek out the window and go, well, yeah.
Well, I was working with many Americans, a fantastic, wonderful group of people, and as most Americans are, like really hardworking, kind, funny, all those things, right? And I'd show up every day, and I'd say, did you know? And they'd go, what? I say, yeah, this thing happened. And they're like, no. I'm like, didn't they teach you this in school? And they're like, nope.
Nope. Well, they may have, but maybe they weren't.
But across the board, there was like 100 people that I was like, did you know? It came down to a thing pretty much every day. I'd come in and go, and did you know? And they'd be like, there were some people who wanted me just to shut up.
Yeah. But, how long are you here for?
But there were other people who were like, okay, give it to me. Morning coffee.
Yeah.
What's the next thing? What's the thing? It was amazing. But it is that book, right? Like there was so much in it that you go, there are entire chunks of American history that I didn't know, and more importantly, a bunch of Americans had no idea that that's what it was, right? Like that even it existed. Kind of crazy.
Well, a learned population is a dangerous population.
Absolutely.
Which is why he's going after Harvard and Columbia.
Yeah.
Under the guise of, what is it? He's trying to quell protest.
I don't even.
What's the anti-Semitism? I don't.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a story for another day, I'm afraid.
Sure is.
That's
something as a bleacher sitter that I don't think we get.
I know.
I don't.
No, absolutely. I don't know. That's a story for another day, I think. Hey. Here's a story.
All right.
A story for today.
On June the 5th.
June the 5th, 2025. I'm looking through my news feed, and I come across this thing about whale watching in Lake Superior.
Oh, we have whales now, do we? Those new freshwater whales.
It's so good. Like the story is so good.
It's
So
from The Onion or
no,
Beaverton.
well, that's the complicated. Where this all came from was that I had been Googling whether whales could live in salt water. And not in fresh water. And where this came from, if I go step back again, is Marineland Game Farm in Niagara Falls, which is a place that has beluga whales and an orca whale, and it's super tragic. Like the whole thing is a super tragic place. It's closed.
It was declared the world's worst theme park.
And terrible, and it still has animals, and the animals are all dying. It's very tragic. But I'm like, why don't you just put them in the lake? It's really close to the lake. Like you could probably, like you could get a van and just kind of put them in the back of the van.
Okay.
Tell them they're going for ice cream, and then just dump them in the lake, right? But you can't. Not allowed.
I'm not allowed. Yeah.
Because they'll die. That they don't work in whales don't work in salt water, in fresh water.
Explain.
It has something to do with their body chemistry and how they balance the amount of salt in their system. All sorts of bad things happen. Like they end up with sores. They end up with like it's bad news, and eventually they just die.
How?
They can't drink fresh water. Here's the crazy part: they can only drink salt water because it messes up their electrolytes, and they die. Pretty much any way you slice it.
Bad idea.
They're dead. There are some dolphins that have adapted to freshwater, but they're really the outlier.
Those are the Amazon
River dolphins. Yeah. They have them in the Ganges, apparently. The Indus rivers, they have dolphins. So anyway, I'm going through, and Google is actually listening to me. And it says, oh, you live near the Great Lakes. And obviously you're interested in whale watching. Hey, I'm going to give you a story feed from Minnesota about whale watching in Minnesota. So there's this whole tour thing that you can come and watch whales in Minnesota. Like that, yes, all a bit tongue-in-cheek. But apparently it's become a thing where like now there's a bunch of people who've been misled. But my favorite part in the whole thing is somebody asked, are there narwhals in Lake Superior? Narwhals in Lake Superior. So I'm like, I think it was a half answer, and so I of course Google it. Are there narwhals in Lake Superior? I know there's no narwhals in Lake Superior. And Google Gemini says no, absolutely there are no narwhals in Lake Superior. Belugas migrating might be mistaken for narwhals in Lake Superior.
Belugas, you say?
It's like, with such authority. But it's like, there's no belugas in Lake Superior. but Google was there. She was there, or he was there going, hey, no.
For real.
Narwhals, that's nuts.
Crazy?
Belugas,
baby.
I bet you they were just belugas. And I was like, well, I'm taking that. I'm going to Minnesota to say, where's them belugas? I know they're not narwhals.
How many people do you think they've hoodwinked?
Oh, like thousands. Thousands and thousands.
My God, that would totally work.
It would totally work. And the fact that Google did it. the Gemini said, no, narwhals nuts, belugas. For sure.
What do we got? What's our biggest fish? The sturgeon, probably.
Sturgeons, absolutely. And Lake Superior, it's a big, deep lake, and they have big-ass sturgeon.
Dinosaur fish, yeah.
Yeah, we're talking like 1-ton sturgeon.
You could tape a little device that would spit water and air out.
You could train the sturgeons.
Train sturgeons.
Here, boy, come on. I think that could be so good. They've got to be bored. The sturgeons?
The sturgeons?
They're not doing anything,
they
right?
live 400 years or something.
I know, and on the bottom, in the mud for 400 years. It's like, okay, tell you what, dog treats. You're doing the whale thing, and they're like, well, I'll try that for 100 years.
But they catch them every time. They catch them all the time.
Yeah. I love it. There was a thing about catching sturgeon in the Fraser River or the Mackenzie, maybe the Mackenzie River.
Is that the River Monsters one?
It wasn't that one. It was a different, because it was just on a little news thing.
Yeah.
But there was a guy who'd caught a really big one.
Yeah.
And they were talking about how many times this fish has been caught. It's the same fish. And they keep throwing it back, and then everybody catches the record sturgeon. And
Here we go again.
And it's just a little bigger than it was last year. And so they go, oh, that's... But I love the idea that there's like maybe 3. Yeah. And they're like,
your turn, Bill.
Exactly. Go grab it. Grab. You'll get to meet new people.
Get this thing out of my mouth.
Yeah, totally.
New people.
You know.
Are we done?
See the city.
Hey.
But yeah, I love the idea that it's the same one. And
well, how many can there be?
And is it pissed? I don't know. Like, is it pissed, or does it like it? I don't know. Like, maybe
getting caught and dragged into a boat.
Yeah. Gets a little scratch. I don't know. Like,
is that what fishermen do?
Yeah. Have you not seen them when the cameras are off? Yeah.
Well, caviar comes from somewhere.
Yeah. So so long and the short of it is they can't put the marine land animals into the lake because they'll fly because they'll swim to Lake Superior and make fools of us all.
Wow.
They'll be in Lake Superior going, what? No belugas in Lake Superior?
That'll be $100, please.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe.
Is that your Roomba starting up?
That is. Yeah. It's don't mind it. It's just lift your feet when it comes by. What else? What else you got there? What else was interesting?
Let's see. We had a trivia win last week.
We did. Okay, You had a trivia win.
You're a vital part of the team.
I was a active observer.
Yeah, you had one. Oh, that was wrong.
It's the thought that counts, though.
It was.
And thank you for including me.
It was a fun night.
It was.
We got $50 off our beer brew, which was extensive.
I think that's a great prize.
It is a great prize.
Yeah.
What else have I got here? Biden's a robot.
Oh, I knew that all along.
Did you?
I did.
So that's news. That was news to me.
Yeah. Like it's. Well, no, I think somebody told me.
Why was he executed, though?
Why was the original Biden executed and replaced with a robot?
Yeah. Well, it was a clone of a robot, or it was a robot clone. Clone was in there for some reason too.
Oh. But so did they make a robot and then they cloned the robot?
That would seem a little.
That seems like a lot of work, but I don't know. Like, tough to say. Like.
But this man.
Yeah.
Mr. Trump.
Yeah.
Put that out on White House stationery.
Awesome. I love that.
That's where we are now.
Okay, enough of the politics. But I gotta tell you, it's gotta be super fun being in the White House, because you could just drop shit into his ear, and then just watch it, right? Like, so you go by and go, oh, did you know Biden's a clone? And then just walk away. And then he'd go to bed and he'd wake up in the morning and go, oh my God, I just realized Biden's a clone. And then it would be it would be too much. I was doing a show in LA and I was really bored. And I was walking around and it was not the best version of me. I'm just going to say.
Which version was it? I know a few.
It was the version that I'm really bored and I know I'm going to be here for 3 or 4 more days. And the show's all great, everything's great, everybody's happy, blah, 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 blah. But I'm really bored and it's a really big crew, American crew. And so I started walking around and walking behind people, humming Bad Leroy Brown. Like, I know, it was not not my best moment, but it was awesome. It was like out at coffee break, everybody's out having a smoke. And like one of the crew guys starts humming Bad Leroy Brown and the other guy goes, what? You too? Like, I don't know, it's in my head. And I told one of the local crew guys, one of the nice ones. They were all nice. Who am I kidding? Yeah. But one of the ones who I thought would appreciate it. And he was peeing himself.
That's a good one.
Because he was the only one who knew.
Yeah.
And he's peeing himself. And I am stoic in the corner. And he's just killing himself.
Well, there are people we work with that do hum songs, the same song. all day.
Absolutely. But yes, this was with malicious intent. But that would be like at the White House. Like even you could even do bad Leroy Brown behind the president.
Sure, and then anybody named Leroy Brown would be rounded up and sent to El Salvador.
That there'd be an executive order to immortalize Jim Croce.
How bad was Leroy Brown? Bad.
He was huge.
That would be all caps.
He was huge.
Bad. Hugely bad.
Hugely bad.
Bigly bad.
Bigly bad. He was so bigly bad. They named him twice. What else? We talked about... Oh, here's a fun one.
Okay.
Here's a fun one. Norwegian Cruise Lines.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Would you go on a cruise?
I'm not sure I would.
I'm not sure I would.
Like, and there's even like crazy like heavy metal cruises or naked cruises or even those fun cruises. I'm not sure I would do it.
No.
Maybe a naked heavy metal cruise. I'm not sure, but
a naked heavy metal Jimmy Buffett cruise. I'd do that.
Oh, okay. I probably would do that.
Only if it was for a month.
Yeah. Ooh, I don't know. Like, you could make a lot of mistakes in a month, and then you'd have to you can't get off.
No.
Well, maybe you can get off, and then you can't get off.
Choose your cabin wisely, I think.
Yeah. Or don't advertise it. Yeah. So there's this cruise ship docked in someplace. Let's say Sicily. It was in Sicily. Mm-hmm. I'm making it up totally. And they had the boarding plank down, and there was a guy walking down the boarding plank. And the ship moved, and he fell in the ocean. And then, so I'm like, whoa, bad day. And they're like, it's fine. He was fine. Mm-hmm. Anybody who's concerned, he was fine. And they're like, oh, it wasn't really our fault because the waves were so high and the wind was so high and it was kind of blowing the boat. And it's like, and you still let him walk down the boarding plank. And it's like, how far does the ship have to be moving before the boarding plank dumps you off into the ocean?
This was a member of the crew?
No, this is like a member, like some old coot walking down a thing and just fell off the end into the ocean. And I think, wow,
that was Norwegian Cruise Lines?
Don't quote me on that, because again, I'm comments. There'll be comments from lawyers. But like, can you imagine? What's worse, being the guy who got dumped in, or being the guy on the shore trying not to laugh at the guy who got dumped in?
Maybe he gave the gas a little. Right.
Watch this.
This guy's in steerage.
This is gonna be awesome. Yeah. So that was the thing. So careful.
Right.
Careful next time you're on a naked heavy metal Jimmy Buffett cruise. And
you know Sasha? You ever heard Sasha, lighting guy Sasha?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think Project X was the name of his company. He told me a story once. He was working on a cruise ship for 6 months at a time, lighting their variety shows. And the crew all got together every night, and they had a great time, and everybody bonded, and blah, blah, blah. And then on the wrap party, as they were all leaving the ship in Miami to go their various ways, one woman in particular, a very shapely woman, shall we say, was saying goodbye to our friend, and she came up and said, see you later, Sasha. And he goes, oh, see you later. And then she said, you don't know my name, do you?
Aye.
And he said, lady, until 5 minutes ago, I didn't know you had a head.
I like that.
So
terrible. That was terrible.
It was terrible.
That was a terrible story. Funny, but terrible.
I heard somebody say that Mexico was the largest trading partner of the United States last week.
I believe it is. I think it is.
Do you think it's bigger than Canada?
Yeah, because they do a lot of produce, like a lot, and a lot of cars. Like that's way true. More cars than we do.
Way more cars.
Yeah. Like there's a lot of stuff comes over the Mexican border, for sure.
My last 3 Volkswagens were Mexican.
There you go.
Mexican built, yeah. Huh.
I was when I was speaking of Puebla, Mexico. Puebla, Mexico is where they build Volkswagens. And the plant in Puebla, I loved Puebla. Okay, plug for Puebla.
I know you've talked about it many times.
I think it's an amazing place. Everybody should go. It's a really beautiful and interesting city, and right in sort of the kind of heart of Mexico and close to everything. But like close, a few hours from a million things, but really an amazing place. But it has this giant Volkswagen plant, like not a little giant Volkswagen plant.
Right.
Like a giant.
That employs the whole town.
That whole employs the entire town. But there's also there's a ton of manufacturers there. Like it's a very middle class community. Lots of manufacturing, lots of skilled manufacturing jobs, and a fairly skilled population as far as doing manufacturing. And weird to find it where it is. It's about an hour and a half outside of Mexico City, on the top of a plateau.
Mm-hmm. Until you had told me, I had not heard of the town.
Yeah, a beautiful place, beautiful old city, great food, great art, just really an interesting place.
My brother-in-law, who is from Mexico City, I told him your story, and he said the same thing of the place. He loves it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. And I hate to say it, send comments. Very few American tourists, very few tourists, period. Like the tourists that...
Well, it's inland, like solidly inland.
It is, absolutely. And it's... but a lot of Mexicans take their vacations in Puebla and around Puebla. Like it's the place that you would go. So tons and tons of tourists, but they're Mexican tourists. And which makes it all that much more interesting.
So you go back in a heartbeat.
In a heartbeat. And it's the center of luchadores. Mexican wrestling is centered in Puebla.
Well, didn't you go see it?
We did. We went. It was amazing. So they actually have a dedicated wrestling arena in Old Puebla. And you can go, and it's wild. Way too much fun. Way too much fun. It's so good. Like we could talk for hours and hours just about the luchadores, and the whole thing's much like I suppose American pro wrestling. There's a whole story, like a whole sort of soap opera going on, and but people we saw it. People bring their children from like their babies from like 6 hours away, drive 6 hours or take a bus 6 hours. For them to come and get blessed by the luchadores, like by the good guy in the rink. Blessed, like they hold up their babies and they do the laying on of hands on people's babies and stuff. I thought it was amazing.
That's where the wrestlers come from.
There you go, baby wrestlers. They've been touched.
I'd go see that.
Baby luchadors.
Baby wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. And then the crowds are amazing, and all their fan clubs show up, and people have like their own songs, and they have their own dances, and they anyway, super great. And that's just one thing to recommend Puebla. Like there's so many good things about Puebla, and they have very cool ladies who work in the OXXO who listen to good music, and
they didn't call you a gringo?
They did not. They thought I was a bit. It could have gone either way. Like they looked at me and they're like,
"You're from around here."
Yeah. That's the other thing in Puebla, which is really great, is because there's not a lot of mostly American tourists, because that would be the closest. Very few white faces, and I don't know whether anybody listening, both Jim and I are as white as the white comes. Really, is like fish belly white, and it is a bit of a strange thing that you could be the only white face in a giant tourist town. And I think it's great. I loved it. It was,
but never threatened, never.
Oh, not at all. Super safe, and people were so kind and really nice, and all the local people we worked with were all really amazing. Anyway, I loved it. I would go back in a heartbeat.
Well, they had enough people to support the exhibit you were in.
Yeah, we were doing art there, and there's a whole convention center. It is the center. It's where the Cinco de Mayo happened. So the independence was in Puebla. That was where all the battles happened and all the things. And there's volcanoes there. It's got everything.
Volcanoes?
They have
volcanoes.
I know. There's what's the volcano? It has a funny name. Not a funny name. It has a cute name. Anyway, it'll come to me. All right. Hey, you know what I came across the other day?
Gonna stop you right there. I don't know what.
I got a little circular that came to my house, like a little piece of paper, and it talked about a local woman doing a lecture at the old age home up the street on Emily Carr. And for those who don't know, Emily Carr, famous Canadian painter, member of the Group of Seven. Almost member of the Group of Seven. It wasn't that they didn't want her. It was just she wasn't around. Okay, never mind.
Anyway, she was a good painter.
So she was a good painter. And
Vancouver, correct?
Vancouver, indeed. And she painted in Haida Gwaii, and she painted totems. She painted all sorts of things. An amazing, distinctive painter and beautiful Canadian painter. And I thought about this, and I thought, what a wonderful thing. She's obviously a local person in our neighborhood, and she's giving this lecture at old age home, but welcoming anybody to come. And you're thinking to yourself, so where the hell is this going? I haven't gone yet. It's next week, so I'll report back.
But you're going to go?
I think I might.
But
like I had a bolt from the great thundering sky. I thought, I get it. And the question you're asking, what is it you get? How social media works. And what I realized is that we used to have a ton of people who were locally famous. Like this woman with her knowledge of Emily Carr and her willingness to share her knowledge of Emily Carr in person. And I thought, we used to have tons of people like that, and people would be famous. Like in a local hot dog eating competition, some guy would eat like 35 hot dogs, and everybody would go, that's insane. That's got to be some kind of world record. And he'd be like the hero of a hot dog eating for the rest of his life. Well, now you Google or go on Instagram hot dog eating. Well, there's somebody in Gwangju province, or there's some guy in Nigeria who's eaten 268 hot dogs. And the guy who used to be the hometown local hot dog celebrity in a heartbeat isn't so special anymore. And I thought, how many things that we do get caught up in that, right? Like how many things we do that the simple things, and it's not the superlatives perhaps, but it's just everybody's existence, like the things that we used to take pride in our small little worlds, like even neighborhood or town or village.
Simply because we didn't know.
Because we didn't know, and it really didn't matter. And today, it actually still doesn't matter. We're just aware of it, and I think it's taken the shine off of our local existence.
But this came to your house as a physical piece.
As a piece of paper, but it's taken the shine off it. Like the not this woman's Emily Carr thing, but social media in general as whatever. So the question is, why would you even bother entering a hot dog competition?
Because of that guy in Nigeria.
And again, would you even get the first comment on your Instagram would be 35 hot dogs? Really? Why are you wasting our time here?
Bukwele did 268.
Yeah, just yesterday. And he's going to do 269 today, right?
Every day.
Yeah. It is but anyway, I don't know what your thoughts are on that. And again, it was kind of like a bit of a profound revelation to me. Probably obvious, but it was a profound revelation.
Yet another instance of too much information.
Yeah.
Perhaps we don't need to know these things.
And do you believe that this is a bit of a rhetorical question, but do you believe that that people compare themselves to what's on social media?
100%. That's what it's there for.
And so,
Kinda.
And so,
that's what it's become.
Yeah.
Anyway,
like all the successes, like the small successes that people have in the world, like has it reduced those small successes? Has it made them worthless? Has it made them less valid?
That's a personal thing. I know you and I are neither of us is present in any scale on social media. I couldn't care less about social media. However, we both know the popularity of TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, and I'm going to Paris for a few days to go and have fun, but somebody's got a little 90-second thing on TikTok where they had the best time. And they went to the best places, and they wore the best clothes. And all of a sudden, of course, it's impossible not to compare yourself to that.
Yeah.
And for the less self-assured, secure people, then their effort becomes what's the word I'm looking for, Simon?
Worthless.
Well,
like weaker.
With it weaker. Yeah, it becomes less. It becomes
less valid.
Profound, less valid, yeah. And that is the danger, I believe.
There you go.
And that's why I don't care.
Yeah.
Because when you get on that those platforms, you presuppose that somebody's going to give a shit about your trip to Paris and the fashion houses you visited and traipsing around, and now you can make it look like a movie.
Oh, absolutely.
So now you're competing with
AI. You don't even have to go.
I spent yesterday on the moon.
It's amazing. I didn't even know that you were going.
Well, I didn't decide till after lunch.
Fair. That's fair.
I was going to stay home, but
you don't rush into those sort of things, or maybe you do, just spur of the moment.
It was a spur of the moment.
There you go.
Just the shuttle leaving.
There's a moon in the sky. It's called the moon, and I'm going.
Tomorrow. I packed a little bag, toothbrush, some underwear.
No cheese.
No, there's tons of cheese.
I know. That would be ridiculous to take cheese to the moon.
The rest of that Parmesan we
Exactly. Or that's what they're saying. Hey, where's the rest of the moon? It went to the moon.
Yeah, that's why it's smaller.
Yeah, like that. The Parmesan thing for sure. Like somebody's catching shit over that. Like, dude left the room and then came back and what? Did you eat that? Exactly.
Ham.
Let me smell your breath.
You've been eating feet.
You're the guy. Hey, another thing. So, sorry, before I move on, I think, we could throw this out there, but I think one of the big ones is, I think the message I would love to send out to the world is to celebrate all your small successes, and winning the 10 hot dog contest is righteous, and that you should celebrate it in the best way you can and with the most enthusiasm you can. And like whatever it is you do locally, you should lap it up and you're great, man.
Like a big cheese.
Absolutely.
Well, with the social media, there's a chance that Umboto Nukwele might drop you a little line and say, hey, saw what you did.
Absolutely.
Nice work.
Keep up the good work.
Keep up the good work.
Exactly. He's really fat. Like, really fat. But
a fat Nigerian? I'm not sure they build those.
You eat that many hot dogs, you're going to put on a pound or two, I think. Yeah. It's not, it's the juice that you have with it. A hot dog's fine, but you're drinking a lot of juice if you're eating that many hot dogs.
Well, have you seen any competitive eating videos?
I have. They are a macabre spectacle.
Unbelievable. And shameless. Just shameless.
Oh, yeah. Like, did you hear the one about the eel contest? the eel eating
It's a joke.
No. There used to be a contest for. And I apologize. This might have been off the Daily Show or something. So this is totally.
Stealing jokes
We
already?
might be.
This is episode 2.
We might be stealing jokes from the Daily Show, but they had eel. What do they call them? Silvers, baby eels.
Baby eels are.
Baby eel eating contest has gone on in this place in England for
I've heard of this.
eternity.
Yes.
And then there were no more baby eels because they ate them all.
All of them.
And so then they had the baby eel eating contest with pieces of fish. And I thought, just walk away. Suck. I know it was fun, but like a couple of fish sticks in there, and it's not got the same.
The gag was the eels.
The gag was the eels. I appreciate the camaraderie. I appreciate the whole thing, but yeah, it's like the cheese rolling down the hill thing.
Which happened last week.
I know,
and the guy who won, I think it was his second or third.
I know, 2 years running. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. But if you replaced it with a rugby ball.
Not the same.
No, or a watermelon.
Does he eat the cheese? Is that the thing that you get the cheese and you have to eat it?
Couldn't say. No, you don't have to. I suppose you could. It's a real cheese. And a pretty fancy cheese, I'm told. I mean, it's no 27-year-old Parmesan, and holy shit, if you rolled that, because it was a 40 kilo or 50 kilo Parmesan.
Don't get in the way of that, baby.
You're not catching that. No. That's taken out like a city block.
Well.
And it's going to smell so bad. It'll smell good for a while. See, cheese is like that, eh?
Cheese is like that. And the Brits, they know their way around a wheel of cheese.
Yeah. I found some cheese in my fridge the other day.
Uh-huh.
And this was, started out as manky cheese. And I thought, and then it kind of turned to penicillin and smelled bad. Not just like penicillin, but like bad cheese. Mm. And I kind of scratched my head, it was because it kind of smelled bad when it went in the fridge. And then I took it out and went, oh, this is bad. And I was like, because it smells bad.
If your cheese is moldy,
yeah,
do you cut the mold off and then continue to eat the cheese?
Such a good question.
I got the gears last week for doing that for my partner who would, and I use a vegetable peeler.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's all
sanitized vegetable peeler.
Oiled and,
yeah. Covered in alcohol.
Oiled in alcohol. And it's superficial. It doesn't go through the cheese. It's just on the top. Doesn't change the flavor. What is your thought on this?
That is so funny because yesterday I actually cut some mold off the outside of a cheese while my 17-year-old son was watching. Uh-huh. And I said, you're not supposed to do this. And then I cut the mold off and then we ate it. But the flowering bodies on the mold are the last thing to occur.
Oh, so it could go deep.
It is deep. So those myceli from that
that's just
mold.
What they do when they hit the surface.
When they get to the surface and they're going to breed, right? So they're putting out their flowering bodies.
I see.
That's what the mold on the outside is. So I'm told, reliably or not, I'm told that even if you cut those parts off, the thing is full of myceli. Now the question is, and this is a real question, depending on what kind of cheese and what the state of the world is, would that hurt you?
So far, so good.
So far, so good.
We're still here. But my partner,
both of us are just going around eating moldy cheeses. That's it.
My partner was horrified.
Yeah.
As a medical professional, I'm sure she knows that story.
Oh. Oh, she is a professional. That's right.
She is.
Aye.
I didn't notice anything, and so far I've been doing that my whole life.
Me too. Now, and doing it for your whole life, you develop you develop a kind of decision-making process where you look at it and you go, that one.
There's a line.
Yeah, we're not cutting that off.
That's going in the bin.
That's going in the bin, and I'm just and it's.
But a good piece of old cheddar with just a little bit.
It's fine. It's fine. I cooked it, so I thought that was we made some cheesy thing, and I thought, I'd probably kill it anyway.
Yeah.
And then I still had some left. And so I, of course, put it in the fridge. I put that block of cheese that I just cut the mold off, I just put it back in the fridge.
You'll get to it later.
Yeah. It'll be fine. I cut the mold off. It was fine. It'll be a really interesting, I can report back. Next week I can report back and say...
maybe it'll be a single solo podcast.
Indeed, could be.
Or we can remote you in from whatever hospital.
Yeah, absolutely. But I like maybe it'll be like some spectacular mold because I've like cut off the weak ones, and now the strong are gonna. It's
now you're
exciting.
A superhuman who is immune to everything.
Yeah. All right, I'm liking where this is going, but
everybody, don't take
dig
it
in.
from us. Take
dig
it
in.
From medical professional.
Disclaimer. There's totally a disclaimer on this, though. Just
that's right.
Hey, so a thing happened to me the other day where I pocket-liked something, and oh my God, I was terrified. That remember in this world where you can pocket dial people, you don't pocket dial people as much as you used to with those modern phones, but people pocket dial people. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Like it's a thing. Like you're
when your butt wants to call somebody,
and then and people go, hey, you called me, and you go, I didn't call you. I must have butt dialed you. Everybody goes, oh, that's so funny when that happens.
Yeah.
Pocket liking on like someone sends you a text and then you don't answer it and then you are able to with your butt cheek hit the like button or the heart button, so now there's like hearts and moons and stars and clovers.
My mother just died.
And then anyway, it's bad, and I realize the potential is catastrophic. Because this wasn't too bad. This was I thought blah blah blah, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. They're like, oh, and then I'm like, okay, I don't know, are you drunk or something, whatever. and then I looked at my phone and looked at the text, and there was a button that I never push. But my butt pushed it.
Your butt knows something your mind
And I thought, oh my God. Like the risk. And is this a thing? Like, have you ever done it?
No.
Like you've never pocket-hearted with your
Maybe
butt?
I have. That would explain. A lot of people don't talk to me anymore. Wow.
There you go.
Yeah.
I thought, wow, the risks. This living in this world is getting riskier and riskier. And how do you get out of it? Like, okay, sorry, I pocket-hearted you. Yeah, okay, you could just say that you don't want to. It's like, no, I pocket-hearted you. I do heart you, but not like with that pocket-heart.
For your...
Oh, yeah, just like, yeah, whatever. I thought yeah.
Was it lighty-uppy and did...
yeah, like it did a thing, but it wasn't on an obit. But it was one of those things, and I thought, well, like again, there was no way to get out of it.
No.
Like there's no, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I would never have done that. Oh. Or I would have, but I didn't. No. Yeah. So anyway, it was like dangerous of the modern world.
Another way to get yourself into trouble with your phone. Maybe it should just be off all the time.
You know what? That's probably a good idea. I could just carry it around off in my back pocket and save on batteries. Totally. Like, there's recharging your phone and sucks.
It does, and then the incessant emails and texts, and telephone calls.
Binging and bonging and
turn it off in your pocket.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a great idea.
That's how not to get bullied on the internet.
100% right there.
Turn your machine off.
Speaking of bullying.
Yes.
It's not really speaking of bullying. That was just a terrible segue. Okay, this is guidance for Christians. No, it's not guidance for it's anyone. Anyone. You don't have to be Christian to take this advice, or just to make the world a better place.
Okay.
Smiling at people and smiling at children and smiling at dogs. people, just do it. Like I'm around people a lot. I often take public transit, and like people, there's a dog there. Why are you not smiling at that dog? Or there's a small child there, and you're grimacing at a small child.
Have you noticed that? I've not noticed.
I totally have.
Have you?
And it's such a little thing. It's a little thing, and if you think about, I was thinking about this as I do. I'm thinking about why it's such a good thing to do it. And part of it has to do with perspectives. Like if you're a small person or you're a dog, you're looking up at everything. Like you're constantly looking up and everything is bigger than you are. And when something that's bigger than you are smiles at you, you go, okay, cool, not getting eaten today.
Threat.
Baby or beagle. We're good. And it takes like nothing. Children and dogs. Smile at your children and dogs. Absolutely. And I was also thinking about it like that I don't know, how did we ever get to a point where A, smiling at anybody is problematic, and B, like that people look away when there's children. It's like, what the hell?
I don't know anybody like that.
You see it on the subway all the time. Like a group of school children come on, and school children are hilarious, right? They're doing whatever hilarious thing they're doing. I'm totally like, okay, do something, amuse me, do something hilarious,
And
like smack that kid, and you throw up. It'll be great. And people get on, and they're like, don't look at the children. Don't look at the children. Just like, and not one person. Like a bunch of people not looking at children, and it's like, are these like, they are human beings. You do realize that, and unless you're planning something bad, it's okay to look at children. It's okay to look at people. That's all right. Like
that is another factor of the prevalence of social media, I believe, that has changed.
Yeah.
Society has irrevocably changed in the last 20 years.
Yeah. What do we think? Maybe it's about tragedies, that we have this perception that there's way more tragedies than there actually are, or way more, I don't know, social deviants than there are, or like, is that, is the world a worse place than, do we think it's worse because of social media?
Oh, it's worse.
Is it worse, or do we just think it's worse? Because the social media, there's all these stories from Nigeria about some guy who's just eaten too many hot dogs. And he's running around grabbing fat women, grabbing fat women on the subway.
I met him. He's a nice enough guy.
Yeah. Except for the grabbing. He's not so good with the grabbing. But
there are terrible things that happen. And I'm not sure if the prevalence of social media and computers and this absurd communication that we have, which is most of the problem, is that we know too much too soon. There's nothing. There's nothing. Nobody wonders about anything anymore. That word can just be banished.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Wonder?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. I'll go to the library and figure that out.
Yeah.
6 months later, you might have an answer. Now, if you can't get it in 5 minutes, I don't...
Moving on.
Moving on. But I think it creates problems strictly for the show.
Yeah.
And it also does not persecute, but discourage bad behavior. I'm not sure it encourages it, but it certainly chronicles it. And it does nothing to discourage it.
And then, we had to boil it down. Like
bad behavior comes but as much as not smiling at a baby. That's bad behavior.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if at one point we had more time to contextualize things like that. So, like, I don't know, something awful happens, or frankly, something great happens, like some amazing thing breaks the 300 hot dog mark. That we used to read it in a newspaper, or it would take its time to get to the wires, and then it would show up on TV or whatever it would do. But there was time for thoughtful minds to contextualize what it was we were seeing or what it was we were being told.
If you were curious in the first place, and not everybody is.
Now that you can get it straight from the horse's mouth, as it were, there's no context. It's just so the idea of things that are brutal or things that are the worst of human beings. There's no one there to contextualize where it's happening, who the people were, why you're seeing this, and is what you're seeing actually what you're seeing, or any of those things. It's up to you. It's up to you, and you've already seen it by the time. So now you've seen it, and now you have to contextualize it.
But do you think it's curiosity or a thirst for knowledge that drives people to doom scroll on their Instagram feed? Because you're not. When I've watched people, you've watched people on the street in the street while they're walking. What on earth are you looking at? You're looking at out of context videos, one after another after another. It's not curiosity that drives that. I'm not sure what it is that drives people to do that. That they can't cross the street.
Yep.
Without looking at somebody peeling a banana funny.
Someone talked about micro dopamine hits, and that's a fairly new phenomenon. That a dopamine reaction, like we have dopamine reactions, we have endorphin reactions. This is what regulates all of our happiness, sadness, all the things that we have. And I was reading this thing where they were talking about micro dopamine, where this theory is that we used to think that there was a threshold, so you would do a thing. Now we realize there isn't a threshold, or at least in this theory, is that the idea that every time you hit one of those images, you get the tiniest amount of dopamine, and only through the volume of scrolling do you maintain that level of dopamine in your system.
So collectively, our dopamine levels are constantly off the charts.
Off the charts, absolutely, and we're going and the idea that if you scroll too slowly, because they're just micro hits, right? That's like if you stop to read an article, you don't get the hit. You've already got the hit for it, and so like the idea that you would just doom scrolling just
makes sense.
Is looking for the blink, 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 and then you get the drip, drip, drip in your IV, and you go blink, 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 drip, drip, drip. And yeah, I don't know whether that's official, Jim. Like I don't know whether that's been certified. I read it I think I read it on Instagram. Just so you know.
We'll take that as truth here.
Yeah. So we should point that out, by the way. We have no facts. No. Jim and I know we have no facts and
strong feelings.
We have
hunches.
And hunches, absolutely, and delusions. We have both of those as well.
And bullshit.
Yeah, we totally do. So if you were thinking about writing a textbook or some sort of instruction manual on anything that we're talking about, not a great idea. No. Think again. Think again, brother.
So. Episode 2, June 5th, 2025. What do you think? It's been a good week. We've had our 4 things, and maybe we'll come at you next week.
Yeah. Was there? I was just wondering, was there anything else that we need to talk about? No, I don't think we are. I think, Jim, you have summed it up. That. We've summed it up for today.
The weekend words. I promise to write some things down for next week.
Perfect. And we're going to do a spot next week called Reverse Bucket List Bingo.
Bucket List Bingo. That's my favorite.
And so if you're here now, come back.
Come back.
Because Bucket List Bingo, Reverse Bucket List Bingo is not to be missed.
It is things you've already done that did not expect to do.
Exactly, and the carnage will be spectacular. It'll be dopamine hits. Dopamine hits all over. Macro, man. Macro. All right. Thank you for joining us. And this has been the 4 Things Podcast, episode 2, June 2025.